Good morning, everyone. My name is Todd Farnham, Community Manager here at Odoo San Francisco, and joining me today is resident Odoo expert and partnership sales executive, Fernando Echeverri. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, the presentation today is going to take approximately 30 minutes. I'll show you the agenda very shortly, and we'll have a Q&A session as soon as we finish the presentation.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Fernando. And as always, if you guys are late to this transmission, you can always join us and revisit it anytime by using the URL. And if you like this video, be sure to hit like down below and to subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions, as Fernando mentioned, you can just enter them to the right in the chat box throughout the presentation. Thanks so much for joining us today, and I guess with that, we can just kick it off. So off to you, Fernando.
Thank you very much, Todd. Great. So the topic of today is going to be our partnership program in the Americas. Just to give you a little bit of background, my name is Fernando Echeverri. As you can see, I am a partnership sales executive. So my main role here at the company is to work with clients in Canada, US, and even Latin America to guide them through the process of evaluating Odoo and making a decision on whether or not they're going to offer Odoo locally as part of their services. So among the things that I do is I help you evaluate our software and see how it fits in with your business model and your clients' needs, be a resource for everything that's related to Odoo, and also help you with your business strategy. So that's what I do here. The webinar that I'm about to do goes as follows. First, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the idea of Odoo, what it is, where we've come from. Then I'll dive a little bit deeper into the value proposition. Next, I'll actually tie all that in with the partnership presentation, talk about all the benefits and everything that entails working as a partner with Odoo. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the enterprise sales strategy, and we'll tie that all up with a conclusion and the Q&A session. Great, so what is Odoo? So for those of you who aren't familiar with us, here's a little picture of the offices we have all throughout the world. So as you guys can see, we have a total of 7 offices. Right now, we are conducting this webinar from our San Francisco, California office. This is actually our headquarters in the Americas. So most of the interactions that we have from our clients comes from here, but we're actually a company that's based out of Belgium. So the company started in Grand Rosier. And just to give you a couple of statistics, the company was actually founded in 2005 by our CEO, Fabien Pancart, whose mission was to really create a software that is attainable not only to large companies that typically spend a lot of money on ERP systems, but for small, medium companies that perhaps didn't have access to this in the past. So we really want to help companies grow. Just to kind of add to that, Odoo is currently offered in 32 languages. We do have well over 2 million users. Actually, this is a little outdated, but we do have over 3 million users by now. We're currently running at over 1,000 installs per day, and actually that number is a little bit higher since we just released our V11, and we've seen some pretty good success with that. And we've had a very significant growth over the last 4 years, over almost 1,500%. So that's really where this company is headed. We're really headed in the right direction. Now, the reason why, or one of the reasons why we're able to have this success, it really starts with the Odoo ecosystem. So obviously, the top of the ecosystem are the customers. So these are the people who actually need projects, need to improve their business. These are the people who really make everything happen. They are the ones who finance this ecosystem, collaborate with us to develop new modules. If they have specific needs, we're going to make sure that we work either ourselves or with our partners to develop these. And obviously, they benefit from the services that we provide as well as the ones that our partners provide. From there on, we also have the Odoo community. So we do have a very extensive Odoo community, which are independent collaborators who test the product. They use our Odoo Community Edition, give us feedback, and really help us build on what we've already created. Obviously, one of the most important things that we have here in our strategy are our Odoo partners. So these are, this is what the presentation is about. Our partners are essentially local representatives of our service. They have their own company, their own business, but they offer Odoo as part of their portfolio. And they really help us since they're able to reach customers that perhaps need something that's a little bit more complex that we ourselves don't really focus on handling. So our partners really help spread our business and improve our brand. And of course, with our partners, they are able to develop a lot of the new modules that we have, provide local support. So it's a win-win situation. And of course, to tie everything up, we do have Odoo, so the editor. We're obviously the ones who establish the long-term vision and strategy, create the core product development. We actually do release a new version approximately every 12 months. So the last one that we released was on October 5th of this year. It was version 11. Before then, it was on October of 2016. We're tentatively planning the release of V12 in October of next year. That's to be determined. So we're constantly improving everything. We obviously do the marketing and sales assistance. We provide not only service and support for our end clients, but also for our partners, which I'll go into a little bit later. And of course, we do any sort of bug fixing and migration services as well. So just to put things into perspective a little bit more, I wanted to talk a little bit more about today's market. So if we see the chart that I've laid out here in the presentation, we can sort of see some of the major players and sort of what segment of the market they have. So when we talk about the big players like SAP, Oracle, Sage, Infor, Dynamics, these are companies that primarily target some of the larger corporations, and of course, this is not really representative of the number of companies out there. Obviously, that market is pretty saturated. These big companies are already using these systems. There really isn't that much opportunity to penetrate that market with a new software. So the solution, of course, was to create something like Odoo, right? We built Odoo in an effort to create something that was from the ground level up. We created a solution that is pretty flexible, that is attainable not only by these large companies, but also by some of those smaller and medium companies that perhaps were ignored in the beginning. So with Odoo, the implementation time is not as long. It's a little bit more affordable. But I'll talk a little bit more about these value propositions a little bit later in the conversation. I just kind of wanted to lay out this diagram so you can kind of see the position and what our strategy is. So if we look at the following chart, I want to talk a little bit more about the competitive advantage that Odoo offers in the market. So kind of going back to the big players that I was talking about, most ERP vendors offer distribution that are on-premise and their software is proprietary. So while the solution that they offer is very complex, the product scope is really great, it's not very flexible. There are limitations on the things that you can do. The implementation is very long, and if you're trying to target a small and medium company, this actually might be, you might be overreaching with these solutions because they don't need something that's so complex. So to go from that high level down, you might have a tougher time doing that. These softwares, the architecture of these softwares wasn't built to accomplish that. On the other side of the axis, we see some vertical business applications such as Salesforce, Zoho, Workday, some really good CRM/sales applications, which are more cloud/SaaS offers. Obviously, these companies also offer proprietary software, so there's a limitation in what you can do with regards to the improvements of the software. And these are limited only to the application that they offer. So these obviously have great flexibility for the specific vertical, but you can't really encompass everything that you require to run a business. So that's where we come in, right? So Odoo obviously has the ability to reach all sorts of verticals because we're not only an ERP, we're also a CRM. We have project management, we have website management, e-commerce. We have all sorts of suites that businesses can use, but we also can be at the high product scope because we do offer access to our source code, which enables partners and any person who has Odoo Enterprise to create something that's a little bit more complex, which can compete with any other software in the market. So just to give a quick overview, I kind of briefly touched upon it. Like I said, Odoo is not just a one-trick pony. We have quite a lot of applications, and it's not just limited to the ones that I'm showing here. But with regards to websites, we have a website builder where you can start a website from scratch, work in e-commerce, tie everything together. We have our sales platform, which you can tie with CRM, point of sale. You can run your operations with Odoo, having inventory management, project management, using timesheets. We have a very comprehensive manufacturing suite, which obviously has the MRP module, product life management, maintenance, quality. It's actually one of our more popular modules and one of the more popular popular industries that we have here at Odoo. Obviously, you can also handle your finance operations with our invoicing accounting modules. You can manage your human resource pipeline from managing your employees to actually doing recruitment. You can actually do marketing. In V11, we actually released a very good mass email module that is very useful. And of course, we also have extra integrations with third-party vendors such as UPS, eBay, FedEx, and whatnot. And the list is not comprehensive. There are obviously more things. And of course, as a partner, you can actually add to these extra integrations. So when we're talking about the product itself, why a customer should use Odoo as opposed to another software, we have a chart right here that shows some of those benefits. So regarding the control of costs, Odoo can actually be a more affordable solution given that the infrastructure is less complex. So you actually do have the flexibility of having it on-premise or on the cloud. I'll go a little bit deeper into that a little bit later. And when it comes to the software, the client only pays for the licenses that they're going to use and the applications that they're going to use. They don't have to pay for the entire suite if they don't want to use a certain type of application that we have. Given the architecture of the system, this next point is really useful not only for partners but also for clients. We do tend to have faster implementations than some of the other competitors, given the fact that our software is written in Python and the database is in PostgreSQL. It tends to be a lot easier for developers to get this done and implemented. Odoo is obviously very secure. We have an SLA of 99.9%, automated security upgrades, and we do backups very frequently, which is obviously gives the end client peace of mind. Odoo is also customizable, so I keep reiterating that our partners do have access to our source code, but we do have a very useful application called Odoo Studio, which we released in the last couple of versions, and obviously we keep improving on the functionality. But essentially, Odoo Studio is an application that enables the user to change some things within any specific module and even create new modules. So you can change fields, you can change rows, columns, you can create relationships between modules, you can add tabs, anything that you want within a specific module without actually having to touch the source code. So this is actually a very useful tool, which I do recommend you look into a little bit more if you haven't had the chance to familiarize yourself with it. Obviously, our software has an easy-to-use interface. It's pretty accessible, has frequent upgrades, and not only is it desktop/laptop friendly, you can actually use it on any sort of device. So you can use it on your iPhone, you can use it on your Android, you can use it on your tablet, and it actually does adjust to whatever the dimensions are. So you'll be able to handle that without being connected on an actual computer. And everything is completely integrated, which I'll go into a little bit later, but that actually helps any business scale their operations. And just so you guys can have a good idea of the types of customers that we have, I did reiterate many times that Odoo was built more for small and medium companies, but that doesn't limit the application of our software. So as you can see, we have a lot of small companies that use our business from a variety of industries, variety of sizes across all the globe, so there's no limitation there. But as you guys can see as well, we do have some pretty big name customers who are not only multinational, multi-billion-dollar companies who are using our software. Not for the entire organization, but they are using it for some facet of the business. So this is just to show you that with Odoo, you can take something that's very simple and adapt it to something that's more complex. So if you guys are thinking about adding Odoo just to tailor to your small and medium clients, don't limit yourselves. Look at it as an opportunity to also tap into some of those bigger clients, because we have had partners who have done implementations for some of these larger corporations that are obviously recognized worldwide. Great. So next I'm going to talk about the Odoo value proposition. So a lot of the problems that these medium and small and medium companies face is the fact that there are so many softwares. It's a jumble of softwares. They don't know which one's the best, so they end up using, for example, Salesforce, Asana, DocuSign, QuickBooks. Some of them are still using Excel. And these are all great softwares in and of themselves. They are pretty good. I've actually had the pleasure of using all of these. The problem is when you're trying to scale your business and actually become more efficient, it gets a little complex, it gets a little messy when you're using a bunch of different softwares for your various business needs. Obviously, this requires having connectors or doing a lot of things that are manual, which obviously makes you lose the efficiency of the business. So this is where Odoo comes in. This is one of the reasons why Odoo is a good alternative to all of these. Since we actually do tap into all of these, all of the processes that these companies specialize in, you're able to have an all-in-one solution, right? It's a one-stop shop where your customers can have their inventory management here, their CRM, their sales, their project management, accounting. All of that will be found in Odoo, which will eliminate the need to have all these softwares at the same time. Obviously, it reduces the cost, becomes more efficient, and it's a win-win situation because obviously, if you as a partner are offering Odoo and all of your clients use the Odoo applications for all of their business needs, it obviously increases the dependency on Odoo and increases the chance that these customers are going to stay on the software. So as I mentioned again, Odoo is fully integrated, so whenever we get a piece of information coming into our website, it is automatically transferred to our CRM, to our inventory module, to accounting, so you don't have to do, there are no redundancies. Everything is handled immediately. So as soon as something comes in, it's going to be found in the other appropriate modules if that's obviously applicable. And another thing to mention is that Odoo does have front to back end integration, which is it leads up from the last slide that I had. So this is actually one of the neat things about Odoo is that you don't have to set up different things for your front end and back end. Everything will automatically feed into your system. So you don't have to worry about that. Our point of sale actually does have a feature to work offline. So for example, if your clients lose connection or whatever, we're going to be able to save that information, and as soon as you get connection, it'll be able to upload to the system and save it to your back end. So there are a lot of contingencies to make this more efficient. So when we look at the traditional ERP systems, this is a concept that we've already talked about a little bit, but some of these larger companies, they built these ERP systems many, many decades ago with the purpose of serving large corporations, right, that have many resources, vast budgets, really alienating the small and medium business, right? Obviously, Odoo, as I mentioned, we designed this for the individual user, for small businesses so they can be simple and more efficient. But at the same time, we do have administrator functionality. So our system does not alienate the end user. It actually is very friendly to them. And it also allows for system administrators and people who are higher up in the organization to use the system and create the controls that are necessary for the business. The traditional ERP vendor, as I mentioned, they created these solutions that are very complex. The product scope is really great, but in order to cater to these smaller companies, what they do typically is they downgrade an existing feature, and it creates a very limited solution. Now, since we create everything from the ground up, we have a very simple architecture. Our modules are very easy to use. Everything's connected. We're able to not only cater to those small companies, but we can actually build it from the ground up, which means we can actually cater towards those larger customers and create a solution that is all-encompassing. And of course, as a company, we deliver a powerful enterprise-class software to companies that are not limited by size, by region, by anything, right? So that's really what Odoo can achieve here. And Odoo, we actually do have some integrations currently with some of these companies that you can see here on our site. Of course, as I mentioned, as a partner, you're going to be able to have access to our source code. So if you want to create a solution that connects to another software, you are going to be able to do that. These are just some of the ones that we have available in our application store. Great. So with that being said, I am going to start talking about the partnership proposition and all that entails. So essentially, when it comes down to becoming a partner, there are certain things that you get, certain expectations. So obviously, as a partner, you are going to be fully trained on Odoo. So we do provide you with the necessary tools to get up to speed and be able to provide service as an Odoo expert. You do have access to Odoo Enterprise source code, which allows you to modify any of the existing modules create connectors and whatnot, access to our GitHub and the latest bug fixes. So these are all obviously things that you can use to leverage your customer's business. You obviously have a direct relationship with the editor, with us, to escalate any issues that you might be having with the software. So any sort of bug fixing, any issue, obviously you'll have access to an account manager who can help you solve these issues. Any sort of references that you might have, any customer success stories, you can actually publish these directly on Odoo.com. We do have a very transparent ranking system regarding the level of partnership that you have, and I'll go into it a little bit deeper later, but we have 3 main levels: Ready, Silver, Gold. And then you also have access to weekly trainings. We have weekly webinars like the ones that the one that I'm doing right now, except on dedicated topics such as manufacturing, accounting, and whatnot. Great. So going a little bit deeper into the actual benefits that you receive as an official Odoo partner, the first one that I wanted to talk about is the dedicated account manager. So as a partner, your point of contact in this company is going to be the account manager, and he or she is in charge of handling your relationship with Odoo. So they're going to help with customer prospecting, sales and business strategy, pipeline review. Anytime you have any questions about any discounts or specific deals with a client, this is the person you're going to be talking to. So their goal is going to be to help you sell Odoo. So whenever you have any sort of client that is in a initial conversation, you can actually have the account manager help you with a generic demo, and they can help you with best practices strategies for selling Odoo. As I mentioned, as a partner, you have access to GitHub, and we're constantly updating that. And actually, having access to the GitHub is one of the big benefits of being a partner. You do also have access to our technical support. Now, I must say that with an asterisk, because as a partner, if you do become a partner, you don't have access to our technical or functional consultants as part of the partnership package. You have access to purchase additional support, which gives you the ability to work on specific projects, specific developments, but this is an access that we only give to our partners. So if you needed that technical support for a specific project, or if you have any questions about modifying any of our modules, you can talk to the account manager, or you can talk to one of the partnership sales executives in the beginning, and we can help you figure out what the best option for you is. You do also get extended free trials as an Odoo partner. And this is actually a pretty good benefit, because the trials that we offer online are limited to 15 to 21 days. And they're out of the box, which means that you can't really use the code. So you can only see what's found functionally within Odoo. But if you're a partner and you've worked on developments for a specific vertical, or you work with a specific type of customer and you've created any sort of modifications, by having access to the extended free trial database on Odoo Enterprise, you're going to be able to actually install this for your client, have them see the specific solution that you've created, and they'll see the additional value that you're providing. Not only that, you actually control the length of the demo. So if you wanted to extend it from 30 days to 60 days, you'll be able to do that, which will help you perhaps close the deal. Adding on the help that you get commercializing the product, you do get access to a knowledge base that we offer, which helps you with project methodology, demo, best practices for demos, presentations, marketing tools. So it's actually an addition to the resource that you have as an account manager, since you can actually sit down and read this. And of course, as a partner, you do get access to our functional training. This is done through an e-learning platform. And it actually covers all of the main modules on Odoo. So anyone in your organization can create an account on this e-learning platform, and you'll be able to go through it at your own pace. So it covers topics in a modular fashion. So it covers CRM, sales, manufacturing, project management, Odoo Studio, inventory, etc. So you'll go through it, module by module. And once you finish, you should be functionally adept at Odoo. And it's really important, because you really need to understand the functionalities of Odoo, the ins and outs, before you actually start doing developments. We've seen it time and time again that in the past, a lot of partners would start. They were eager to create modifications on modules, and whenever a customer requested a feature, they'd start developing as soon as they got that request, instead of actually fully understanding the functionality. So that's not as efficient. It can be that if a customer asks for something, you can actually do it within Odoo. So you really want to make sure that you have that thorough understanding prior to developing. Great. So adding on that, you also do get qualified opportunities. So the way that it works is our account managers, they receive leads or opportunities from clients that want local implementation. So they're actually going to have this conversation with them. And then based on their profile, based on their need, they're going to pass these opportunities on to one of our partners since we don't do enterprise implementations. And the account manager will follow up with the pipe reviews. So it's in their best interest that you close these opportunities. Now, I do want to say this with a caveat because the qualified opportunities should not be the main focus of your business. So they're kind of like a nice cherry on the top, but it's not really, you can't really sustain your business depending on these because there could be months where you get some very good opportunities, but essentially you will be responsible for developing your own pipeline, outreaching to new customers. One strategy that I always told partners to go with is to work with some of their existing clients and try to get business there. But like I said, this is one of the perks that you get. It's just not, it shouldn't be valued too highly. Obviously, as a partner, you'll be a part of the partner network, which means that you have access to all the partners' mailing lists. You can collaborate with them, ask general questions. It's a very collaborative environment. You shouldn't look at all the partners as competition. There are good opportunities to actually collaborate. Obviously, as a partner, you do get access to discounted packs and discounted services. So it'll depend on the partnership level that you're currently at, but that's another nice perk that you have. As a partner, you also have access to a commission on the sale of any licenses. So whenever you sell, whatever number of Odoo Enterprise licenses plus modules, you'll get either a 10, 15, or 20% discount depending on which level you are. And this commission is actually recurring. So as long as these clients are continuing to renew their contracts, you can look at it as fixed income. So once we go through the pricing a little bit, you'll realize that this commission is not really the focus of the partnership. So it's a nice little perk. It's a nice extra money that you get. Might give you leverage with some of the clients with regards to the pricing of the licenses. But the main focus of the partnership is actually based on the services that you provide. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. You also get access to marketing resources, white papers, videos, webinars, customer stories, promotional events. We actually do some local events with our partners. We do some road shows, and that's something that we can discuss. For example, if you have plans on doing an event locally early next year, we can talk about that either with the account executive or the partnership sales executive or the account manager. These are actually pretty good opportunities to get not only your business's name out there, but also promote Odoo locally. And any sort of opportunities that we get from those events are actually yours if you host the event by yourselves. And of course, as a partner, we are going to promote you on Odoo.com. You will be visible on our partnership website. And depending on what level you are, you'll be either higher or you'll be wherever the group of your partnership is. So talking a little bit more about the different levels that we have, most of the partners that start here at Odoo start as a ready partner. This is the basic level. There is no requirement as far as the number of licenses that you have to sell. This type of partner is entitled to a 10% discount, and then they get all the other benefits. To go from the ready partner to the silver partnership, you do need to sell at least a number of 50 licenses within the first year. And this will entitle you to a 15% discount on the sale of any license. Of course, it increases your visibility, increases the quality of prospects that you get. So obviously, you get the same benefits as the ready partner, but just a little bit better. And then the gold partner, that's the highest level partner that we have, has to sell at least 100 licenses within a given year. And of course, you need to do this on every single year to maintain it. And in order to do this, you do that, and you also need to have at least 4 people certified officially on Odoo. So there's a certification exam that you can take after you finish the functional training. And obviously, this gets the highest visibility, 20% discount on any service, 20% commission on licenses, and obviously, they get the best of everything. Now, talking a little bit more about the support packs, since I mentioned them, we do have three basic packs, right? We have the basic, standard, and custom. These packs can be used for a variety of things. As you can see, the basic one is mostly for, training, functional support, answering RFIs. The reason why we don't include the other things in the 25-hour pack is that typically you would need more hours to get, more dedicated technical support, development, coaching, and whatnot. The standard one includes the same as the basic, except it also has technical and development coaching. And then the 100-hour pack is recommended more for complex projects. If you're really stuck on something, we can actually dive a little bit deeper into that. Of course, as far as getting access to some of these other things, like we can obviously talk about that on a case-by-case basis, but it shouldn't be an issue. Great. So the final section that I wanted to discuss is the Odoo Enterprise Sales Strategy. So kind of like the relationship that we're going to establish here between Odoo and the partner is, obviously we're going to offer our partners the professional services. We're going to give them the value proposition, the training. Once the partner receives that, they are going to offer those services to their customers. So they're going to sell Odoo Enterprise and offer the partner services to the customer. Now, the pricing model that we have is pretty simple. So the client will end up paying $20 per user per month, plus the cost of any modules that they're going to be using. You can find the total cost of our software based on region on odoo.com/pricing. And then whatever you guys charge for your services is exactly what the customer is going to get. So you can look at it this way. So whatever the cost of the software is, you're going to get either 10, 15, or 20%, plus you're going to get 100% of whatever you charge for your service and implementation fees. Now, given the fact that our software is pretty comprehensive and it can actually take care of a lot of business processes, it's pretty affordable, especially in the United States. When we look at some of these other softwares, they're running at hundreds of dollars per license at least. And the implementation is a little bit more complex. It's harder to get business. So this is actually a pretty good value proposition for you guys, because when you're offering the Odoo software, it's pretty easy to understand. It's pretty affordable, and that means that when these small and medium companies, when we're talking about budget, I mean, this is a really important topic. They're not going to be spending a lot of that budget on the cost of the software, but instead they're going to be able to spend it on your services. So here's a really good business opportunity, because you're going to be able to sell the software a little bit easier, and you're going to be able to benefit financially a little bit more. So that's really the gist of the partnership. It's the opportunity to offer a service that is very needed in the market and will allow you to benefit handsomely. Great, and then there was one more thing I did want to mention. So regarding, before we go into the Q&A session, there is a platform that we recently launched. So when you guys are evaluating Odoo, one of the important things that you guys are going to have to look at is the implementation methodology. So if you go on our pricing site, you'll see that the software is the same for any of the advanced Odoo. Basically, if you want to have Odoo within the advanced edition, the software cost is the same. There are variations regarding monthly versus yearly contract for on-premise implementations, for implementations that you guys are going to handle either on the client's servers, your servers, or if you guys are going to use your own third-party cloud-based hosting. Those have to be yearly contracts, and the yearly licenses obviously have a different cost from the monthly one. So if you wanted to use our cloud-based hosting, you could do it monthly. It's a different cost, but you can look at that on the pricing page. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up was because regarding the implementation methodology, as a partner, you do have the option to do it either locally on the servers or you third-party cloud-based hosting. But we actually recently launched a new platform called Odoo.sh, which is dedicated hosting. And I do want to momentarily go out of this presentation to show you the page in case you haven't had the chance to look at it. So Odoo.sh is kind of like it's a middle option between our old out-of-the-box cloud-based hosting, where you didn't have access to our source code. It was kind of like a out-of-the-box solution where you have a lot of limitations, and the enterprise local serving that our partners typically did. So this Odoo.sh is available for the end client if they want to use it, and it's available for our partners. And it is essentially a dedicated cloud platform where it really helps developers. So if you don't have a team that's set up with infrastructure, you don't want to deal with setting up servers, this is actually a pretty good tool. If you guys have developing background, or if you have your developers looking at this presentation, they're actually going to be pretty enthralled by it. This full stack platform allows you to do database replication, stage servers, backup servers, automated testing, create email gateways, and obviously this is hosted by us, so you don't have to worry about that. And additionally, one of the main appeals to this is the fact that you actually do have access to our source code. So you're going to be able to create modifications on our modules and still have it on our own servers in case you don't want to deal with all the infrastructure that's related to doing on-premise implementation. So just quickly to run over some of the main features. So this is integrated with GitHub, which is obviously very convenient. As you guys can see, you guys can actually go on odoo.sh and read it for yourself. For testers, we have automated tests. You can do staging of branches, test community modules, track developments. For project managers, you can do from development to staging to production. It's very convenient, very easy to use. And then for system administrators, obviously this has high availability. You can monitor everything, do backups, do the mail servers. And obviously everything is very secure, which of course you can check out a little bit more on odoo.com/page/security. So the reason I wanted to bring odoo.sh into the partnership presentation is this is actually available for end clients, but if an end client wants to buy this, they do have to pay for this, and the cost in the United States is $180 per month if they're doing it on a monthly basis. If they do a yearly contract, the cost is $144 per month. That's what it comes down to. Now, for partners, one of the benefits of becoming a partner, and something that we decided in October, is that at least for the next 2 years, as a partner, you will have free access to odoo.sh, not only for yourself, but you can actually do that for your clients. Now, that is one way to look at it, but another way to look at it is if one of your clients does want to be on odoo.sh, or if you guys determine that that's the best way to go, you guys can actually charge them full price for odoo.sh, or what we would charge, and essentially pocket that difference. So that's an extra source of income for you guys, or if you wanted to offer it at a discount, that's fine. But my point being is that this is a really good tool that you guys have access to for free, and you can actually use it to your advantage to benefit from the partnership. So with that, I will actually conclude my presentation and turn it up for Q&A.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Fernando. Great job illuminating everything about the partnership for everyone. We actually have a couple questions. So I'll start out with Jose Munoz. He asked, which apps are fully usable in any country?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Jose. So most of our applications are actually usable in any country. Now, the software that we're talking about here obviously has many applications. It really depends on what you're trying to use. If you're talking about the full-blown solution, Odoo is very usable in the United States, Canada. Like it can set up pretty nicely with all the accounting charts, general ledger, all of that. Now, for countries in Latin America and other countries, they might have local rules regarding the accounting or the invoicing, electronic invoicing. Those things are not necessarily found in Odoo, so that's where our partners come in. So if you have a client in a specific country that has specific rules regarding the financial aspect of the business, they would have to work with the code to create something that's usable there. Now, just to give you kind of like an update on some of our progress, we do actually have a solution that is readily available for customers in Mexico. So Mexico actually does have a software that is compliant with the local rules, has electronic invoicing, it has accounting, everything is pretty much found. And we've advanced in some other countries, but in most other countries outside of the U.S. and Canada, when we're talking about Latin America, they actually have to rely on the partners to create that. And of course, when you talk about is this usable in every country, I mean, it also depends on the type of industry that you're talking about, right? Like there might be some industries that have specific rules, and of course that would require developing on the software anyway. So this question can be interpreted in many ways.
Cool. And he had another question that we can that you've sort of answered, but maybe more directly. So the database of Odoo, is it in the cloud or installed on a local server? And I think maybe, I'll just kick that to you.
Yeah, so the Odoo data, it depends on the method of implementation that you're going to do. So the database is on PostgreSQL. So depending on where you install the servers, that's where the data is going to be found. So if you do it on local servers, the data is going to be on the local servers. If you do it on a cloud-based server, then it'll be in the cloud, of course. And like I said, we do a lot of backups, so we have a lot of safeguards against the cloud-based hosting in case anything goes wrong.
Cool, cool. And the next question is from Zachary Richmond. Is the functional training available for anyone or just for partners?
That's a good question. So we actually do have the functional training available for the public. Of course, that does have an additional cost. So if you go to, I think it's training.odoo.com or odoo.com/training, one of the two, you'll be able to see that we have the functional training right there. And you can actually, if you want to get a good sense of how it works, you can actually see the pricing. I think you can do either monthly or yearly access. Of course, if you do become a partner, that is included within the partnership deal.
Okay, perfect. And now our next question is from Alejandro Segezi. He said, our cost as partners is $20 USD for each user, right? Or is it tied to the modules that they also use? And then also, I think maybe you could clarify a little bit about the different costs in different regions and stuff.
Yes. That's a great question. So the cost for the end client, it's based on the number of users that they have in a particular database. So if the company has 10 people using Odoo, they'll have to pay 10 times whatever the license cost is. So the $20 that I mentioned, that is the cost for the first users of an additional database in the United States. So obviously each region has a different cost. So Latin America is going to have a different cost. Some countries in Europe are going to have a different cost. People in Asia are going to have a different cost from the US. So the prices that I mentioned were based on US. So regarding the additional cost, yes, the modules would be something that you would have to add to that. So if you have those 10 users and they want to use sales, CRM, accounting, they'll pay for access to those modules in the entire database. So it doesn't matter how many users you have. For example, if you have 10 users and you use those 3 apps, you have 100 users and use those 3 apps, the cost of the application will be the same. It's based on database. It's not based on individual users. I hope that answers the question. And also, like I mentioned before, depending on the method of implementation, if you do end up doing monthly contracts, the price of the licenses will be a little bit higher. And we also do have an incentive, which you can look at on the pricing page, where the first users within a particular database, so if you have a new client that's on Odoo and they don't have an existing database, they'll get a discount on the sale or on the purchase of those licenses, and any additional users in the future will have to pay the market value of the license, and you can actually look at that on our pricing website.
Cool. Well, actually, that concludes the Q&A. That's all we've got. So, any last things you wanted to say, I guess, Fernando?
Yeah. So my information is on it's on the screen right now. Like I said, I'm a partnership sales executive here in the Americas. So if you have any business in Canada, U.S., or Latin America, and you're not currently in contact with us, I very much encourage you to either give me a call or shoot me an email. I'd say shoot me an email would be a better first step. I'd be happy to talk a little bit more about your business needs, about any particular clients that you might have, and help you decide whether or not a partnership with Odoo would be a good step for you. Other than that, I really do appreciate your time. I hope that you were able to get something out of this webinar. And of course, if anything wasn't answered, since we ran out of time, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer that question for you.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Fernando, thank you so much for an excellent presentation. And as mentioned before, you guys, if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit like or subscribe. And if you have any additional questions, be sure to hit up Fernando at fec@odoo.com, and you can schedule a meeting with him directly to find out more about what it takes to become a partner. And if you have other questions, maybe not specifically related to partnership, you can gear those toward webinars@odoo.com, and myself or the other marketing team members will be answering those. So make sure that you check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and keep checking out our events. And with that, as always, we wouldn't be here without our community, so thank you so much for your time. And this is Odoo Live signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.